Life for low-income people in the United States often means choosing between paying rent and buying food for the family. Official statistics in recent years have recorded over 36 million people living below the poverty line, which affects daily choices. Many households must spend over 30% of their income on housing, which leaves little for other needs. Food assistance programs, such as SNAP, cover a substantial portion of low-income families, but access and benefits vary between states. Low-income people more often experience a lack of stable employment, and frequent job changes make budgeting and saving difficult. In low-income households, nutritional disorders and lack of access to fresh food are common, affecting the health of children and adults. High rental costs force many families to live in overcrowded units or temporarily share space with others. A lack of savings and low financial reserves mean that unforeseen expenses quickly lead to debt or loss of housing. In cities and suburbs, the number of people experiencing homelessness is rising, and many of them end up in tents, temporary housing, or vehicles. The shelter system is insufficient to take in all those in need, leading to the use of alternative forms of housing that are on the edge of safety. Low-income people have limited access to health care, which leads to worse health outcomes and higher treatment costs. Childcare costs are unaffordable for many families, so parents give up work or accept low-paid jobs without stability. Taxes and complex rules for granting benefits often result in some people not using available help out of fear of bureaucracy. Working multiple jobs and employment in the gig economy are everyday realities for those trying to keep a household on low hourly wages. A lack of public transportation or its limited availability makes commuting to work, education, and services difficult, deepening economic isolation. Rising energy and utility prices expose the poorest households to power shutoffs, which directly affects safety and health. Many people live with medical debt and avoid care, which worsens chronic illnesses and generates further expenses in the future. In rural communities, the lack of services and large distances to facilities make poverty a different, often harder-to-solve problem. In cities, economic and racial segregation hinders access to quality schools and jobs, which sustains the cycle of intergenerational poverty. The lack of public housing and long waiting lists for housing vouchers increase pressure on the rental market and cause evictions. In economic crises, the poorest people lose jobs first and rarely benefit from a market rebound without public assistance. Many families experience income instability due to seasonal work, which makes repaying obligations and budgeting difficult. Debt crises and high interest rates on payday loans affect people without access to banks, often leading to loss of housing and mounting debt. People released from prison return to poor neighborhoods without support, which increases the risk of homelessness and hinders social reintegration. The stigmatization of poor people impedes access to services and support because many families are ashamed to ask for public help and isolate themselves. Children from low-income families are more likely to fall behind in school and have fewer chances to continue higher education without financial aid. Seniors with low pensions and no savings often live on the edge of poverty, especially if they have high health care costs. The lack of paid sick leave forces workers to choose between caring for family and maintaining their basic income. Financial exclusion and lack of credit history make renting housing, obtaining loans, or opening a bank account difficult. Municipal initiatives, such as food banks and rent assistance programs, mitigate the effects but do not solve the root causes of the problem. Internet access and digital skills are increasingly essential, and lacking these resources limits work and education opportunities. The psychological burdens of economic insecurity lead to higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression among the poor. When documents or legal status are lacking, immigrant people have even less access to social assistance and health care. Repeated evictions and lack of housing stability destroy neighborly relationships and prevent the building of social capital. Effective solutions require cooperation among institutions, local governments, and the private sector, and short-term programs are not sufficient. Many eviction cases stem from a single unpaid installment because procedures are quick and legal assistance for tenants is often unavailable. Paid childcare is more expensive than many salaries, which forces families to give up work or hire nannies outside formal regulations. The minimum wage in many states is not enough to cover basic expenses, which forces people to work multiple jobs without prospects. The lack of psychological support and budget counseling means that difficult financial choices and health crises escalate without intervention.